Good morning, coffee beans. How are we doing? I don't know about you guys. I had a very restful weekend. I got to spend some time with the wife and my youngest son. We went and watched some horse races down in kind of the southern part of the state. Had a real good time. We got to kind of relax. The wife got to visit with some family members that she hadn't seen in a while. It just all around was just a good time. Something needed, every once in a while. I was telling the wife, so she and I don't typically take like, what would you call it? Like vacations, like where we go for a week or whatever here and there, whatever, you know what I'm saying? We just do, like little weekend getaways, like a little 3 or 4 day weekend type getaway. And then we come back and we are able to just, it's just enough time, I feel. Cause we're not really, I don't know. I guess I've just gotten old and I just love to be back in my own dadgum bed. And that's where I was at last night. And so I was happy. Just real quick, just kind of let you guys know, right off the top of the bat here. So this Sunday, we should be starting, our, I don't know what you'd call it. Oh, hang on here. What would we call this thing? Let me find the thing here. Just a second here. Okay. So this Sunday, we're going to, look, we're getting pancakes with our breakfast this morning. Awesome. I love pancakes with my breakfast. So anyway, put some syrup on you. Sure. Yeah, no problem. Well, I'm sure we can find some syrup for you. That's awesome. But anyway, this Sunday we will be doing start our competition for our 2 new members over in the Clear as Mud. This Sunday we're going to have Eva and Seth. So looking forward to that. So hopefully we'll see. I'll see a lot of familiar faces out there Sunday. For that should be starting about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So anyway, all right, you guys ready to get into the, I get pancakes for being cool. Awesome. Bring in the pancakes. I love pancakes. Put a little, I'm not real big on banana pancakes. But like, I do like, putting some, I like a little peanut butter on my pancakes, every once in a while. But, love raid. I love raids. Yeah. Come on. All right. So let's get into the show this morning. We'll start off with our usual, little, comic that we have here. It says, hey, you're not in the pen. I know I'm out on bail. So good for him. I guess he got an early release. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. So the main story, we're going to just kind of get right into this morning right off the bat. Jidion, was recently, arrested. Let me find out. I thought I had the article pulled up here a second. I believe it was because let's see here. Yeah, let me pull this up here for a second before we watch that video. He was arrested down in Texas because he did this prank where he went on to university down in Houston, right? He just went into a class or whatever, and so he is facing a trespass warrant out of Houston, Texas. So anyway, he had this warrant. He knew there was a warrant out there for him, and so anyway, I guess he was on his way maybe to deal with it, or um, he he had put out he'd done some interviews and what have you about this warrant. He knew it was there. So I think was this yesterday, the 16th? Yeah. So he was out riding around and had his Instagram live up and going. And let's see here. Let's pull this up here. Got to I don't know. I don't think I really want to watch all of this, but he gets pulled over by law enforcement down there in Houston, Texas. That's about right here. Be fine, I think. Well, oh, come on. What's with this video? Hang on here. Refresh it. Let's try this again here.
And went live. Like, it's actually ridiculous. It's ridiculous because I could have went yesterday, but I wanted to make a video for you guys.
So he said he could have went in yesterday, turned himself in, but he didn't because he wanted to make a video, right? And so now he gets pulled over and he's going to be detained. And probably
Jidion's career is over. Not facts. It's wraps after this. Okay,
it's just
Harris County.
I know.
And I'm just going to give you a warning, but they want to place a hold, so you're going to have to come with me.
Yeah.
Do you have someone that you want to call to come get the vehicle?
That's the thing. I don't have anybody here right now. Everybody's out of town.
Okay.
Oh no! So now they're going to have to impound his car. I mean, it's a hassle. I think really more than anything else. Like I said, it's a simple trespass warrant. From the college. More than likely, when it's all said and done, I'm sure his lawyers will be able to get to probably actually even be dropped, and all he's really going to be is inconvenienced. More than anything. The thing of it is Jidion. I know that he's liked by a lot of creators and YouTube viewers, things like that. And he does have a history of going and doing these like prank videos. The problem is that you have to be careful with on these prank videos and stuff. Like I seen one not too long ago where he went back into a mall where he had been banned from going back into, right? So then you start getting these trespass charges, and that's not cool. I think it sets a bad example. I'm all for entertaining the masses, as it were. I'm all for having fun. But the problem is that, when you go out and you do these things, and, we've seen these other YouTubers and stuff go in now and start doing these really outlandish pranks in businesses and in stores. And it winds up, this is one-upmanship, right? So one will go do this and another go do this, and they just one up. And eventually it's going to wind up with somebody probably getting hurt. And that's something that, I don't think anybody wants. But anyway, all the much more. Let's see here. So let's see who we got in chat this morning. We got Zero Core this morning. And got John Bon Zombie, Squirrel Lock, Beth Ann Polensky, Not Your Typical Mom, Ren, Sarah Sausage, Dan 240P. Looks like we had some friends and supporters of Mr. Sal, the Pancake Man, Helgi 23, Mr. John Morner, who else we got in here? Miss Danny, Des Arts. Oh, Des Arts loves tacos too. So cool for them. Some French fries. Who else we got? Misinformation, LSD. Interesting. Vitamine. I guess they like bananas too. Billy Carlisle. I think Bridget. Yeah. Clip Bishop. How many pancakes under that chin? Um, right now I don't have any pancakes under my chin, but thanks for asking. Let's see here, Mister Jamor, Noodle. Yeah, I think Noodle. That's Salvo's new under the table guy. Let's see here. I think he replaced that other dude. Let's see here. What else we got? I think that's it. Oh, Abby. We got Abby. Abby's out there. Good morning, Abby. D-Max is in the house this morning. I think is that everybody. We got, I don't know how you say this. 4 zeros and then 4P. I don't know. Welcome in. I think that's everybody. Oh, Mitch joined us this morning. How you doing, Mitch? Or actually, good evening for you. Yeah, because you're over there on the other side of the world. Silly Phillies Taco Tuesdays tomorrow. Yeah, exactly right. This is Monday meatloaf, right? So I think that's everybody. Am I too late? No, Max, you're always right on time. So anyway, let's get on through our stories. Let's get on through our stuff here. So Max is gonna have some pancakes with us this morning too. Awesome. So Keemstar put out a tweet yesterday saying, "Attention, all YouTubers! If you want to be a part of the Wings of Redemption versus Boogie documentary, simply upload videos with your thoughts on this May 13th fight." So we got a fight coming up May the 13th, so it's about a month away, right? No censorship. Say what you want. We'll use some of the clips. Hashtag Boogie Wings May 13th. And they got a little thumbnail here. Got Boogie, of course, with his boxing gloves on and wings. Let's see. Oh, I don't know what I think about this. Of course, I've had some interactions with Boogie. I think, how do I want to word this? I think Boogie is, I think Boogie is a very tortured soul. And I, really, I really do hope that he, at some point in time in his life, can find a way or find the means to have some peace in his life. And I mean that with all sincerity. I applaud him and encourage him to get healthy. It's something that I struggle with. Being overweight is not pleasant. It does restrict, it does restrict a lot of things that I get to do because I just physically, some activities and stuff, I just can't do it. I've got bad knees, I've got a bad back, I got bad hips, and then of course with arthritis, and it just all starts compounding and flaring up, and it just, I have some concerns about this. I know it's just going to be an exhibition match, and it's probably going to be like, I think, everybody's, so, I mean, it's not going to be like no, 8-round match or anything like that. You know what? But I hope that they can do this exhibition between these two guys as safely as possible. And it could be entertaining. Anyway, Oh, Huck. Hey, K Huck has joined us this morning too. How you doing, K Huck? But I do hope they get, that Wings and because I know Wings and Boogie both have battled some financial problems, and it's of their own doing, and so I can understand why people would not be sympathetic to their plight. So anyway, I don't know. Will I watch it? Yeah, if it's out there, I'm gonna watch it. Sure, why not? I wish them the best. I guess that's the bottom line. I hope they're successful in their transformation and their journey. Anyway, let's see what else we got this morning. All right. So one of the bad things about being this past weekend, going out of town and kind of getting away or whatever, Creator Clash 2 happened. And I know there's all people that watched it, and they seemed to enjoy it. I guess there were some, big happenings. I know that there were some, different little videos, clips, and stuff like that put up on Twitter. And so we've got a few of them we'll take a look at. I think one of the biggest ones I think that people really was kind of happy about the results was when John Morrison and the Harley Eats matchup, right? So he got knocked down twice. He being Harley Eats. In this first clip, we're going to see John Morrison hit him so hard. When he hit the mat, he actually fell out onto the announcer's table. So we'll take a little look at this.
That's going to be tough to get out of. Oh, another right hand sneaks through. And then a cheeky right hand though. Harley goes down. Oh. Y'all good, Harley. Y'all good, baby. Get back in there, big dog. How you doing, big man? Wow. That's going to be.
Yeah, he just fell out over to the. So, here's the thing I'll say, right? I mean, I wasn't real, particularly myself, I wasn't real, I just found the whole thing really weird about how, like he and that other female boxer, I can't remember what her name was, it doesn't matter, were out here trying to champion this whole situation, right? And yet iDubbbz and his wife, neither one of them felt, good to come out and speak on behalf of their boxing promotion, right? This was their company. And neither one of them ever made a statement. I found that a little bit odd. And especially when, you had people like Harley and, like I said, this other young lady, was talking about how this was, about all this money was for charity. The young lady even made the allegations that, that by Froggy not paying back the, what do you want to call it? The advance on his, purse, that he was taking money away from the charities at that point. Well, here's the thing. We watched Bo Black's video on this. And Bo Black's did a really good job of curating past interviews of iDubbbz and the whole story, where iDubbbz said, he would never put on a boxing match where it was all about getting a bag or getting a paycheck, right? And then the very next thing he did, that's exactly what it was about. All these boxers were guaranteed a certain payout. Then they were also on top of that, given a percentage of the ticket and pay-per-view sales. Well, and here's the thing. Some of these boxers may actually turn around and take all that money and give it to whatever charity that they were, representing in the matchup. And if they do, good on them, because then they're being, true to their words. And I don't even have a problem. Honestly, I don't even have a problem with them taking, money from their purse to pay their trainers, paying any type of gym fees, things like that. If they're, if they need gloves or, that type of stuff, I don't even have a problem per se with that, right? Just any expenses that they would have, right? But taking it and just living off of it, right? And with the excuse of, well, I'm doing this, I don't have time to make content. Excuse me, you're getting ready for a boxing match. Why not record you getting ready and some of your workout routines and make that the content? And then in turn, you're hyping the event, which then potentially boosts the sales, right? Raising more money for charity. See, I didn't understand that, but I don't know, maybe I'm, maybe I'm just, maybe I don't understand the bigger picture, whatever, right? But the good news is that Harley Eats here, he did get his wish, right? Him being knocked out of the ring, whatever, because his whole thing was, they'd be making a GIF of being knocked out. Well, he got his wish, so there's now a GIF. Someone has taken and made a GIF out of the first knockout where he was actually out on the announcer's table. Then let's see, what round was this here? Round 3 of 5. He actually gets knocked out again, and the ref has to step in and stop the match.
Right on. And again, you keep seeing this.
Boom! He tagged him. He tagged him with that right hand, and he went down like a sack of taters.
And that's it. Referee waves it off. Wow. Right on. And again, you keep
Look at that. Boom. I mean, he signed, steel, and delivered that. He first class, boom. And he went down, his legs went out. He was done. So, anyway. But it did look like, people had a good time. People did enjoy it. And so I'm glad they did. I'm glad it was successful. I'm glad that, these charities got some money. It would have been nice if they'd gotten more, because IDubs and them had been more honest up front and men and women of their word, and actually made it about charity and not giving them a bag. So anyway, let's see here. All right, so this next one, I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you had 200,000 U.S. American dollars in the form of dimes, what would you do with it? Now, that seems like an arbitrarily weird number, right? $200,000 in dimes. Well, here's why. So, a truck in Northeast Philadelphia that was left in a Walmart parking lot overnight was broken into. The trailer was carrying an estimated $750,000, or $750,000 in dimes. And the thieves were able to steal approximately $200,000 worth of the load, right? You can see here where it looks like they had these dimes and these plastic, like 55-gallon trash cans, right? You can see all these dimes that's all over the parking lot there, whatever. Now you stop thinking about it. $200,000 worth of dimes. What are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with this? Said the driver had picked up the coins at the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and was headed to Florida, according to CNN. He left the trailer in the parking lot and went home to get some sleep before the next leg of his journey. The station reported no arrests have been made at this time. Police said officials are searching for men in black clothing and gray hoodies, a white Chrysler 300 with tinted windows, and a dark-colored pickup truck in connection with the theft. Well, I was going to say, if these guys just had a 300 Chrysler, I don't know how in the devil they're going to get $200,000 worth of dimes out of here. But anyway, good for them. It looks like these things were loose in bulk. They weren't like rolled, so I don't know. Someone's going to have to do a lot of rolling. And here's the thing: when you start trying to cash in that many dimes, guess what, guys? They're not, coins. In the States, they're not serial numbered like with dollar bills and stuff, paper money, right? But if you start trying to convert all that many dimes in, they're gonna know who you are. You're gonna get got, right? So, anyway, while we're on the subject of money, it seems an Oregon man drained his family shared bank account of $200,000 cash and just threw the money out on to looks like an interstate here, right? There is a little video, I guess, clip here of like of a news station, TV station. Let's see here if we can.
People are still combing the sides of the freeway, hoping to find more of the money, even though state police say it's all gone.
They were unsuccessful at locating any, so the people that originally stopped on scene did a pretty good job of cleaning it all up.
Lieutenant Jim Andrews says 38-year-old Colin Davis McCarthy drained his family's shared bank account and let it fly along the freeway. Unfortunately, Andrews said there was little they could do for the family because the account was shared.
Because it's shared, they both have equal interests in the money.
With dozens of people walking on the side of the freeway looking for the cash, Andrews says McCarthy could have been charged with the crime.
The most likely thing that he could have been charged with in a situation like that, where there is danger being created because of his actions, is disorderly conduct, potentially reckless endangering, but most likely disorderly conduct. And I know the troopers considered
people are.
So the guy took the money, threw it out onto the interstate, said, "Have at it," right? And meanwhile, the family is out $200,000 and have no recourse. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. You wished you was there, nuclear winter. Probably a lot of people wish they were there. So. Oh, I see Dave has joined us this morning. Dave's got a big trek this morning. I think he's heading into the Big Apple. If I remember seeing right on his Twitter feed, Dave's going on the Big Apple. So, I've got to get with Dave. Hey, Dave, are we still going to try to do a show tonight, or are you going to be tied up all day in New York? So, yep, going to be going to New York City for the afternoon. Okay. All right. Yeah, still going to do a show. Okay. Cool beans. We'll see what we can work on today then. But we've kind of had a dry spell on Waffle House news, but we got a double fister today. We got 2 Waffle House stories. So this first one is coming from Clown World. So you can see here, a customer tries to climb up over, get to him, gets dropped, hits his head on the counter. Look here. Now he's going to come off top rope, throwing a haymaker. These guys are sitting there going, now another coworker comes out. He's got a frying pan in his hand. Boom. He's going to just upside his head. Here we go. We're going to throw some haymakers. And they're sliding around all over the place. You know why? Because I'm going to just tell you something right now. Just Waffle House floors tend to be a little bit slick. They never close, so it's kind of hard for them to mop it and get the grease and stuff up. You know what I'm saying? And Peckerwoods are open 24 hours a day, so it gets a little bit slip-slidey. Let's see. 8 at the worst, but we might just talk about New York City and stuff. Okay, cool. We still got some of the pancake fans in. I'm glad you guys hung around. I hope you guys are finding the show entertaining this morning. and everyone make sure to get you some pancakes because, pancakes is probably one of the favorite, breakfast meals. So, thanks for having me. You know what? As long as you behave yourself and you don't do anything that's like terms of service, you guys are welcome to hang out. I don't care. You ain't bothering me none. I just enjoy the view count and the interaction. It's all analytics, right? So we got another one here. That's another Waffle House. This one here is not quite as entertaining, right? So, hey, good morning there, Mikey. How you doing this morning, buddy? This one here, really all it is, I think we basically got definitely one intoxicated dude. The other dude, I don't know. He may be a little intoxicated, but it's like basically the 2 a.m. Waffle House challenge. And what was funny about this whole thing is this big dude who's trying to act so tough in this situation. You watch and see, he's allowing his I don't know if his wife, his girlfriend, whatever, relationship this is, maybe it's a sister, I don't know, is holding him back, right? Yeah, like he's really, but anyway, just watch this. She tells him, come on, we got to go. She goes, I can't bail you out. I ain't got no money. I ain't got the money to bail you out. She's trying to get him out the door, right? Don't he know no shoes, no shirt, no service? Dude's got to get a shirt on, right? Yeah, he's like, hold me back, bro. Exactly, Toxic. Hold me back, right? Like, I'm sure that if he really truly wanted to get at that guy and really do something, I'm pretty sure that lady would not be able to hold him back. It's all bolstering. It's all bolstering. Yeah, she don't have the money to bail you out, idiot. Jesus Christ. Oh, these people in this world. I don't know about them sometimes. Oh, this one was wild. Yeah. So this one here, there's no audio on this one. This has got this dude, these two drunk dudes. One's, trying to huff the other one, and boom, look here. And what goes up must go down. Right through the doors. Boom. Now we got the police here trying to get these guys out of here, right? They're stubborn, but probably the good thing is they're so drunk and relaxed that they probably didn't really even hurt themselves. That's the good thing, right? Oh man, what else we got here? Oh, yeah, this was kind of cool. If you're a Mandalorian fan and you like the little baby Yoda, right, that they call Grogu, whatever his name is, right? Mikey says, seems like lately this sort of behavior has been running wild. Seems like some of these folks need a whooping when they wrong. Well, I can tell you something, Mikey. I tend to agree. I don't know where their parents were at, but they definitely needed to go and pick their own switch and have a come to Jesus meeting. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. If you were never sent to pick your own switch, there's no more humbling event that can happen in a young person's life. Because here's what you have to go out and you have to find a switch, right? When I was a kid and I'd misbehave, like my mama or my granny or my dad my dad, normally he didn't do that. My dad would just use his belt or whatever, right? But like my mama, my granny, and they would say, go get me a switch. And you knew, like one of the first times that happened to me, because I was a slow learner sometimes, I went and got this little old thing, it wasn't nothing, whatever, right? And they just throw it around. I said, that ain't going to do it. Go get me one, right? And so you knew what they were wanting, right? So you'd have to go get one, that was, maybe, but you had to be careful, right? Because if you got one that was like a long, slender one, when they whipped you with it, right? Those things, they had so much flexibility in them, they would wrap around, right? And they pop the side of your leg and you know, stuff, right? And so, you know, you wanted to get that, just that happy medium, but you had to walk and so you had to mill around and find the right switch, right? And so you'd have to get that switch off that tree limb, and then you'd take it back there, and then you're going to get your butt whooped, right? So you had to go get your own means of punishment. So you had to, all this is going through your head about how you done screwed up, right? And then you had to, so that was torment on its own, right? And, Lord of mercy. I think you know, I think I only did that to my sons. I think I did it to them one time where I made them go when I'm, you know, made them go get their own switch. I don't know. I just kind of felt like that was, I just remembered it from my childhood. Um, um, hang on here, Abby. CP Paul. I think that just made me have specific kinks. Abby, darling, bless your heart. I don't know what to tell you, hon. Nintendo Switch or just something American. Mitch, this is definitely it's not just something necessarily American, but it's more, I would say, a Southern thing here in America. What would happen is when here in the South, especially like when I was a kid growing up, and this would have been in the 60s and 70s, right? And probably before that, like, you know, my parents' generation as well, when you misbehaved, your parents would send you out into the woods to find you would have to find a limb, and you'd have to, you know, like you'd get a smaller limb off of a bigger limb. And it would usually be about an estimation, probably about 2.5, maybe 3 foot in length. And ideally, it probably would be around the size of like a number 2 pencil, something like that, right? So you'd have to get this limb off the tree, and then you'd strip it down to where it's just a rod or whatever you want to call it, a switch is what we called it here in the South, a switch. And then you'd come back, and then, whichever adult was disciplining you because of your mistake, you would have to, like, sometimes they'd have you just lean up against a tree, kind of like a, like police, assume the position, right? Put your hands up and lean it, whatever. And then they would switch you. They would give your backside a good dusting, kind of to get, and you'd get a whipping, and it was, or a switching. They'd call it a switching, and that's what that is. I had to work. Yeah, exactly. Had to work exactly. Had to work for my whipping. It wasn't bad enough that I had done something stupid. That was bad enough, right? But then to have to go get your own switch, that was so. Yes, Mitch, they made you pick the weapon of your destruction. Exactly. Now you're getting it, brother. They would make us go pick our own weapon of destruction. So you had to go out into the woods, right? It gave you time. Exactly, Max. It gave you time to reflect on just how stupid you had really been, right? So it drove home the point, right? To where, so you knew the switching was coming, right? That you were going to get a spanking. You knew that was coming. That was inevitable. That was 100%. That was going to happen. So you had to sit there and think about it, right? And here's the deal, right? If you were dawdling, right? If you were taking your time and you were just, because you were trying to postpone the inevitable, then you ran the risk of pissing them off even more, right? For making them wait. Exactly. Mikey Perk. My family was from the South, and it was a bad boy. I seen my share of whippings. I acted out during revival, and hang on. Whoa, Mikey. You acted up at revival, and you lived to tell about it? Whew. Son, someone prayed the blood of Jesus over on you then, because I'm going to tell you something right now. If I misbehaved in church when I was a kid, if my mom and dad wasn't around, it didn't matter. It did not matter. Somebody would jerk me up out of the pew, march me out of there in front of God and everybody. The preacher wouldn't even miss a beat from, his fire and brimstone sermon he's preaching. March me out back, and boom, here we go. And it was inevitable. It was inevitable. There was always some kid that was always going to, because you didn't want to, revival was during the weeknights. You should be outside playing, having fun. You didn't want to be cooped up in this. Because listen, where I grew up, church didn't have no air conditioning, right? So they'd have the windows open, right? And they had these old fans in the ceiling that spun about maybe 2 revolutions per minute, right? Because they were wore out. So the only thing you had to keep cool, right, was the fans from the funeral parlor, right? Back when I was a kid, back in the day, advertising, what happened is funeral parlors would give these fans out. And these fans, let's see if I can find a picture, because some of y'all I don't think know what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find an example of. Yeah, here we go. Right here. Let me pull this thing up. Here we go. Boom. Here we go. This right here, okay, this is a typical funeral parlor fan. Now, it'd have a picture of Jesus or something like this, or maybe he might have been holding a little lamb on his lap or something like that. And then you flipped it on the back side, and it would be whatever funeral parlor had donated and given them to the churches. Like it'd have their name and have their address and phone numbers and what have you. This is all we had to be able to keep us cool, right? But here's the thing. The only people that got them things primarily were the old women, right? The grannies in the church, right? That would be all, or be the only ones that would get this stuff, right? And so they would be in there and they'd have them fans just just like this, And most of them be chewing that double mint gum, and they'd have them fans that go and fan, keeping them cool, right? And then you're sitting in there and you got flies landing on you and everything because you got the windows open because, trying to get a little cross breeze. And they always had revival. It was always like in July, and it would be hotter than Hades inside these churches. So you get in there and start fidgeting and get bored and whatever. And then all of a sudden you would do something. Like I remember the worst whooping. I swear my hand to God, the worst whooping I ever got. It wasn't even revival. We were just having church. It was just a Sunday night meeting, right? And so I was sitting there, and I was probably 6, 7 years old. And, I had the mentality, the mindset of a 6 or 7 year old boy. And the windows were open because it was during the summertime, and the flies were coming in and just, buzzing around doing what flies do. And I don't know where I got it, but I got a rubber band. And so these flies were landing, and I was taking the rubber band, and I was pulling it back, and I was popping and killing these flies. Pop, 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 killing these flies. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this hand that just basically almost swelled my entire head grabbed me up, jerked me up, and it was who was it? Was it? I think it was my grandpa. And he took me out back, and he started proceeding to tell me how I was embarrassing, and I was not raised to be acting like that. And he just swatted me one time on the butt. You know, took his hand and just gave him a swat on the butt. But my grandpa, y'all, was a logger, right? He was a log. He cut and he pulp wood, and he he worked in the logwoods. He was a big, strong, just tough as nails man, and he gave me, like I say, gave me one little swat on the butt, and it wasn't even really that hard of a swat, but I idolized my grandpa. I literally thought the man, was perfect, and when he said that I was embarrassing him, that broke my heart, and that did more, and so yeah. When my grandpa did that, that was it. I was, anyway, memories, right? Memories. Yes, that hurt more than the whooping. My grandpa telling me that I was embarrassing him. Yeah, I disappointed him, and that was something as a, that I just, anyway. Yeah, because I loved my grandpa dearly. I loved him dearly. So I miss him. I miss him so much. Anyway, let's talk about this baby Yoda. Enough story times. So I guess this is like at some Comic-Con or whatever. You can get this. This guy's built this baby Yoda here or whatever, right? And it's pretty cool. But wait till you see the price tag on this thing.
Starts at about $100,000. So this is the most sophisticated servos in the world. They're glass smooth.
Let me turn that down because I don't get with the music. That is so cool. But $100,000. Listen, I'm a Star Wars fan, and Baby Yoda's not too bad. Whatever. I mean, I've kind of fell out with the Mandalorian. I don't much care for it anymore. I will say I haven't watched this last season. Don't know if I will or not. But that is very smooth animatronics. But $100,000. Thank you. No, thank you. So I got one last little thing for us this morning. I have a question. Now, I know a few of you like Mikey Perks, if he's still there in the chat. I know he's old enough. And maybe, I don't know, maybe not your typical mom. She might be old enough. I don't know. And possibly even Paw Prince. How many of you guys are familiar with a animated series on TVs back in the 70s and stuff? And they may even do reruns, I'm not for sure, of the Jetsons. Any of you guys know that? The Jetsons cartoon? You guys familiar with that? Let's see if I pull up a question of here. Jetsons. Let me get some images up here. Okay. Open image in a new tab. Here we go. There we go. This is the Jetsons, right? Okay. You had the dad, the mom, the daughter, the son, and then of course Astro, the puppy dog, right? The movie, okay. Meet George Jetson, exactly, Max. Zero grew up with the Jetsons, okay. So you guys know who the Jetsons are, okay. Well, guys, I was strolling through, as one does occasionally, right? You're just scrolling and You ever just start Googling things? You just Google and you start reading and you just kind of start, and before you know it, you've wasted like a whole day or evening or whatever, right? And you just go down a rabbit hole that you think, Lord, how did I get down here, right? So what happened was, here's the question. Have any of you guys ever noticed, like if we go back and we look at this picture, right? Hang on. Why did I close that out? Let me go here. Let me bring it back up here. Hang on a second here. Okay. So have you ever noticed how Judy, right? Isn't that the daughter's name, Judy? Because it was George. Hang on here. Because I don't want to run this. Hang on a second here. Yeah, Jane, right? Yeah, so you've got George as the husband. Jane is his wife. Judy is the daughter. Elroy is the son. And Astro was the dog, right? Have you guys ever stopped to look at how George looks kind of old in relationship to his wife, Jane? But if you look at Judy, right? How close to her and Jane, look, Rosie, and Rosie, which was the maid, right? The robot maid. Exactly. You're right, Malice. But have you noticed this? Did you notice this? Well, let's read this article. So this question is, was Jane Jetson a child bride? Okay. So it says a viral tweet about the 1960s TV show The Jetsons really recently brought up a troubling question. Was Jane Jetson a child bride? The answer, not quite, but it's easy to see why people might get outraged. Okay? So, it says, if we do the math at merely fictional relationships between George and Jane specifically, and when their daughter was born, then Jane was just a teenager when Judy was conceived, and the 7-year age difference between George and Jane doesn't help matters. But marrying young was less abnormal when this show was premiered, which was in 1962. In fact, the median age for marriage was at its lowest in the 50s. Let's start with the facts. Well, so this is what we know. So George Jetson was 40 years old during the first season of the CBS show in 1962-63. And how do we know that? Well, you can watch the episode 14 of the show titled Test Pilot, which originally aired in the U.S. On December the 3rd, 1962. It says, during the episode, there's a mix-up with some medical tests, and George is told that he's going to die soon. This premise was an extremely popular one in the 20th century comedy, by the way. So George agrees to test a new spacesuit created by his boss's company that makes someone invincible. He spends an entire episode doing a stupid, crazy thing or whatever. But he eventually learns the truth. He's not going to die. In fact, the doctor says he could live to be 150. That's when we learn George's age, because he says, please, Mr. Spacey, don't launch those missiles. I've got 110 good years ahead of me. Because the doctor says he should live to be about 150. He says, I got 110, so that gives us 40 years. So we've established that George is 40 years old. Okay. Now, Jane. So the show tells us that Jane Jetson is 33 years old. Well, how do we know that? Well, from the comments, the character makes his very first episode of the series titled Rosie the Robot, right, which aired in 1962. Judy calls her mom crazy and way out, much to Jane's confusion. Judy explains that this is how people used to talk and that she learned it in ancient history class. Judy teases her mom she should remember. And then Jane tells her, says, don't be smart. You know I'm only 33 years old. Okay, so George is 40 and Jane is 33. So that's not that big of a deal, right? Because that's only 7 years, and so it's no big deal, right? However, and here's where it gets confusing, right? Judy Jetson is 15 years old during the first season. The Wikipedia page erroneously says she's 16, but we learned from the very first episode that Judy is almost certainly 15. As you can see, that the difference matters when you consider that 18 is considered the age of consent in much of the United States today. Because there was a line that says, Jane says, as Judy leaves the house, if I was only 15 again. In fact, I was only 32, 22, 32 again, making, of course, her measurements, right, of her body, right? So what does that mean? Okay, so if Judy is 15, right, and we know that Jane, the mother, is 33, right? So what does that mean? Okay, so if we do the math, it says Jane gave birth to Judy when she was 18 and George was 25, right? So that means she was 17, right, when Judy was conceived. But if you use the Wikipedia, where it says that that she's actually 16 years of age, right? I'm sorry, if you give where she was 18, right? Hang on a second. Okay, using Wikipedia's incorrect number, Jane would have been 17, leaving open the possibility that Jane was 16 years old when Judy was conceived, right? So if they used the wrong numbers and said, well, she's 16 and not 15, right? So then 16 from 33, right, is what? 17. And then knowing that it takes 9 months, so technically she could have been 16. So anyway, there you go. But the takeaway from all this is this: you have to remember something. This story or this cartoon stuff was written and produced in the 60s, right? So things were a little bit different back then. People would get married a lot younger. It just was what it was. Like, for example, my father's dad was 60. Hang on, I'm gonna get the math here right here. Let me do some math in my head. So my father's dad was like 58, 59 years old when he met my grandmother, my dad's mom. She was like 22, 23. They wound up getting married. They had 2 children. They had my aunt, my dad's older sister, and then my dad. My dad, okay, so my grandfather was like almost 60 when my dad was conceived. So, it's just, like I say, back then it was a different time. It was a different era. It was not, it was not frowned upon. It wasn't looked as, girls, would get married as young as, 13, 14 years old. They were getting married. The parents would sign off on it. Sometimes the guys would be, in their 20s, typically. That's what would happen. So anyway, the good old days, right? All right. So I don't know. I found that kind of interesting. I was like, it's really weird sometimes when you're out just surfing the net, as they say, and some of the articles and stuff that you can come across. I just found it weird. I just kind of really weird. But anyway, listen, I want to let's wrap it up, and let's see who we can go out and see who's doing things out there. What we can be talking about, or what not what talking about, but things to go check and watch. So I know that I have to watch this, but Mitch put out a podcast, YOLO Swag Studios. I've got to check that out. The word on the street is that this is a very funny little podcast. It's about an hour long. So I would recommend watching it. I think it's good. The broadcast premiered a video yesterday. D&D and Sunny V2's horrible video about Mr. Beast. I've got to watch that. That's one I'm going to be watching and checking out today as well. Saturday, DeadOnDave had the Whammons recording crew on. That was interesting. I did get to watch that or listen to that. I went so the family and I, like I said, we went to the horse track Saturday, and we had to walk all over God's Green Acres that day, just here and there and everywhere else to kind of, whatever. And we got home that evening. We ordered a bite of supper. I had a bite of supper. My son left to go back home, and it was like 7:30. I was like, I told the wife, I said, I'm dying here. And she goes, it's not even 8 o'clock. I said, fine. So I stayed up, but as soon as it got dark outside, I went straight to bed. Right. And then I woke up because I'd gotten like my typical 6 to 7 hours of sleep, which is what I do. And then I wake up. So it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or some nonsense. And so I put in my earbuds so I wouldn't wake the wife up, and I watched the DeadOnDave episode. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought everybody did just a real good real good job. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. Let's see what else. I really want to focus. There's a lot of bigger creators that has done some really good stuff. Leon Lush put out a video that I enjoyed. It was pretty good. I didn't have a lot of time, so I didn't get to watch a lot of stuff over the last few days. But I did watch it. This video right here. Aubin Preach. Okay. They put out a video here. Ethan Klein is embarrassing, right? This was 2 days ago. I think I watched that Friday evening. But let me tell you something. This one right here, they absolutely positively go in hard on Ethan, and they just decimate him. If you guys haven't checked that out, check him out. Check out this video. Aubin Preach, give him no quartering. There's no quartering given. They just totally just take him out. What else here? Oh, D-Max, I think, is back to kind of doing some streaming over on Twitch. Check him out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ I think it's D_MaxHS or something like that. I think that's what it is. Just follow him on Twitter. Just follow D-Max on Twitter, and you'll get all of his stuff there. He has all of his stuff there. It's probably the easiest way. What horse did you bet on? Well, I'm going to tell you a little story. I'll tell a little story about that. I got to tell off on the wife a little bit. So I don't like to gamble because all I can see when I gamble is hours of hard work going up, just right. And people who like to gamble, no shame. If you like to gamble, go gamble, right? As long as you're doing it as a source of like adult entertainment that you can go do as an adult, and it's just whatever you want to have fun, whatever. Okay. Me personally, I would rather take my money and like I say, go away for a weekend somewhere, or maybe go have a nice meal and go to a movie, something like that, right? That's, to me, is where I would rather see my money go. But my wife and my son both like to do a little gambling and stuff. So we get to we get to the racetrack, and we find our seats and everything. We sit down, and these are the seats were comfortable in that they were, because I'm a bigger guy, right? So I was able to get my butt in the seat. There was no problem there. But the problem and I got, like, I purposely got, because I bought ahead of time and everything, went into, how you do those, the seating charts and stuff, right? So I got seats that were like the front row. So I thought, okay, if I get on the front row, right, then I would be able to have leg room, because I have extremely long legs, right, guys? I'm like 6'2", right? And so I have long legs, and I want to have plenty of leg room. So we get to our seats and stuff, and like I say, they were comfortable somewhat, but there was this wooden wall, and literally, dudes, I'm not even lying here. The from where the end of the chair was, or the seat that where you sit, right, to where the wall was, I'm not joking, was maybe 1.5 feet, maybe 1.75 feet tops. And so my knees were smacking this wall, and I was like wedged into this thing, right? And so that jacked up my knees, from an old football injury that I have from when I played football. But anyway, so my wife, I wasn't going to bet. So my wife and my son, and they had a call sheet or whatever, and they're looking at when they go, and so they went, placed their bets or whatever. They came back, and so I asked my wife, I said, well, how did you bet? And she goes, da 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 da. So it's a little bit questionable, some of these bets you're making, right? And I was like, And so the first race goes by, and she lost, right? Well, there's $15 gone, right, on the first race. $15 gone. Okay. I said, all right. So I could already see, and I was looking at the rest of it, and I was looking at the sheet, whatever, and I was like, honey, you're not even picking the top odds horses to win. Yeah, but I said, okay. So I knew I said, all right. So I went and I made bets to cover her bets. And so anyway, the long of the short of it is, or the short of the long, I guess, of the story is, when it was all said and done, we were down about $20 when we left out of there. But if I had not have went and bet, to try to counteract what had happened, we would have been down a lot more. So anyway, like I said, and I don't know anything about horse races. I don't know anything about them. I don't gambling and stuff. I know a little bit about how to play blackjack. That's about it. But I don't know. I just don't care for gambling, whatever. But I can read numbers and statistics and analyze that and make, that kind of stuff. But so anyway, bottom line is we had fun. They had fun. Yeah. Also, I remember the Jetsons really well. Does that make you old? Nah, not necessarily old. Just means, do you remember the banana splits? Yes. Yes, I do remember the banana splits. 100%. That was a wild show. Back in the day, 100%. The thing of it is, I didn't get to see them banana splits, too often, because, I lived in a very rural part of Arkansas, and, number one, so we only got about 3 or 4 TV stations on our antennas. Number two, we had one television, and during the day we were not allowed to be inside unless it was raining. We had to be outside, playing and, doing what have you, unless we had homework. Then as soon as we got our homework done, when we were made to be outside. So I didn't watch a lot of television. I would get to watch a little bit on Saturday morning cartoons. My parents would allow me to watch a little bit of cartoons Saturday morning. So that's kind of how I know the Jetsons and like the Flintstones, Scooby Doo, things like that. Anything that was on a Saturday morning cartoon, I'd get to watch. But that usually was, I would get to watch that basically until we basically had breakfast. And then once breakfast was served, or whatever, it was outside. And that was it too. There was no, we weren't, like I said, we weren't allowed to just sit inside. I can remember, um, I was probably about, let me think here. Let me look up something right quick because I don't want to tell you guys wrong. Not, you know. Let's see. Okay. So when I was about 9, 10 years old, somewhere in there, that's when the Atari 2600 was dropped. It was in 1977. Okay, so I was born in 68. So that'd have been, I was about 9 years old, 10 years old, because we didn't get it when it first came out. We got it like probably about 78. So I was probably about 10 years old because we got it a little bit afterwards. And we didn't even get an actual Atari 2600, right? Sears made a knockoff of the Atari 2600, and it was called like the Sears gaming machine or whatever, but it was an Atari 2600, right? It looked just like it, used the same cartridges that you'd buy for a 2600. Matter of fact, my mom, I think, still has the console at her house or whatever. I ought to really get it sometime and we call it, see if I can get it hooked up and working or whatever, right? But anyway, I can remember when we got that one year for Christmas. Like I said, I've been like 10 years old, somewhere in there. I can remember we'd come home from school and we were allowed, me and my middle brother, because my youngest brother was just a baby, we were allowed each to have 30 minutes of game time on it when we first got home from school. Then we had to get on our homework, and then we outside. If there was still daylight, we had to go outside. But yeah, we were allowed 30 minutes of it. That was it. My mom was strict about that mess. And so, me and my brother would always, what happened was only one of us could play it at a time, right? Because we just had one controller. We didn't, whatever. So either I would play first and then be on my homework, and then my brother would play, and then he'd get his homework, and vice versa, whatever it was. And then out the door you'd go. I mean, that was just the way it was. So I think sometimes, I do think, younger kids, I'm going to say like probably, early teens to definitely like 6, 7 years old, things like that, 4 or 5 even, spend way too much time online, way too much hooked up to game consoles and playing games. They really should be outside, fresh air, running, playing, doing things that, young kids should be doing. 100%. I really do believe that. Anyway, built character. Yeah. I think that's a lot of the reasons why, honestly, when, sometimes when I see some of these young people, that really struggle with, issues, right? They dealing with online issues and things like that. They really struggle with it. I think that their whole, even young, when they were young, 12, 13, whatever it was, until, they could be in their 20s now, even, they've been online, they've been, and they've just, that's where their life has existed. And I don't, I think they just miss so much of just really being a child and having imaginations and being outside and learning how to socially interact with people and how to deal with, all that kind of stuff that you learn through socializing. It's like, I know, when I was working in K-12 and stuff, and I would see these young people that, like they would be on their phones and they might be talking to somebody that's across the room from them, but rather than get up and go and sit down at a table with them and talk, they'd be on their phone texting back and forth. Right. It's just wild. It's just wild to me. Right. So anyway, oh, well, I think the world's moved on. I think the world that I knew from my youth is gone. I don't know if we'll ever get back to that. I think that's a time and era that's passed. So, Peepers, sing Davy Crockett TV show opener for us. I know you know it. I probably, if I really sat down and pondered it, Max, yes, I probably could sing it. No, I will not, because I cannot carry a tune in a bucket. So there's that. There's no moving back, only forward, Maggot says. Well, you're right, Maggot. You're right. But I do look back nostalgically at my childhood, and maybe I'm biased, but I definitely believe that the era that I grew up in, which was the late 70s, and the 80s, I think was the best period of time to have grown up. I think back, it was just a different era. I can't tell. I just can't tell you other than it was just a different era. I look back at some of these movies and stuff that were shot back in the 70s and 80s, and I'm thinking, wow, what a great time to have been alive, and how corny were we? There was a lot of stuff we were so corny about stuff, but anyway. Well, listen, I'm going to get off of here. Go check out some of these guys. Go check out, make sure you're following Max on Twitter, so you can see when he goes live over on the Twitch, and you get over there and get subbed up to him or whatever on the Twitch. Check out Now Recording. They dropped a video not too long ago where they talked to a VTuber. I've got to watch that one still. That's still in my Rolodex. I've got to watch. The Women podcast, like I said, they our women recording podcast. They were over on Dead on Dave Saturday night. Go check out that episode on Dead on Dave. The broadcast, they dropped a new one. I got to go watch that one as well. There's just a lot of really good things being out there, being created right now. A lot of good content. A lot of good, like I said, just a lot of good stuff out there to watch. And by the way, listen, just to kind of, if I could toot my own horn here a little bit. Friday, we had like a 3-hour stream Friday morning. It was really, really good stream. I personally believe. Max called in, and then Reese called in, and, there was a really good, I think, honest, frank conversation, that occurred. I found it very informative. I found it very, refreshing, conversation. There was not a lot of hot takes, but just some solid, rational, expectations put forth. I think it's just basic human decency. And, so I even went in and timestamped the video for you guys so you can see, when Max calls in, when this was, when Reese calls in and so forth. So, if you don't want to, because it's 3 hours, so I get, I don't watch all 3 hours, but so if you just want to, I would really encourage you, if you haven't, to go check out that stream for Friday and start it at least where Max calls in, and then because shortly thereafter Reese calls in, and I think I really believe it was a conversation that really needed to be held. I'm glad I was allowed to be the platform that it was held on, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So make sure you go check that out if you haven't. Okay, what is this? Abby says, this clip is 1,000%. All right, Abby, let's see what you got going here, hon. So what kind of trouble are you going to get me in? What is this? What is this from? Peepaw and Drag. All right, Abby.
I love when Mitch compliments.
Peepaw and Drag. Oh, no. Oh, no. A gay professor holding a phone.
I love when
I don't know what is this you guys are doing here, Abby? What Peepaw? What do you mean Peepaw and Drag? Semen Demon? Ah, yes, that's a cute. Okay, cool. Hey, listen, I got the seal of approval from Reese, so that's all that matters. So whatever. Cool. Thanks for sharing that with me, Abby. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool little thing there. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I've got some things I'm going to be doing. Some stuff I'm gonna be working on. I got a project I'm gonna be working on. Hope you guys have a wonderful day today. Like I said, make sure to check out some of those creators that we discussed this morning. But until I'll see you tonight, I guess we're going to be doing a show on Dave's channel, and nothing else. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. So remember, guys, to keep your powder dry, and I'll see you in the funny papers.
Can't you see it in my face?